Are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin.
And now for something completely different.
What's happening, everybody? I wasn't kidding when I said this is going to be completely different. I'm not too sure how you found your way here, if the algorithm served this channel up, or if you're a subscriber of mine, but you might have come here to see a garden video, or maybe you came to see a flush of mushrooms, or maybe you don't know how you got here, but today's going to be a little bit different. Today I'm talking about dreams. Why am I talking about dreams? Well, you know, it's a funny thing. I know a lot of things about a lot of things, but I wouldn't say I have any great fancy credentials and books behind my name or on any big panels. But so, you know, that kind of makes me a bit of a jack of all. You know what they say, jack of all and a master of none. But I'd rather be a jack of all than a jack of whole, if you know what I'm saying. So one thing that I am an expert in is my own experience. Who knows my experiences better than myself? I've always been, I have a big passion for altered states of consciousness. Back in my school days, I got a university psychology degree and actually studied sleep and did some sleep lab research. But I never really got into studying dreams, which was my primary focus. See, I always had nightmares growing up, very elaborate, vivid nightmares, lucid dreams. I've had all different types of dreams, and even more recently, they really occupy my daily thoughts. I have nightmares every night, and they're complicated. And when I wake up in the morning, it takes me a good couple hours to reground and come back to this reality and figure out what's going on. But in all those dreams, I know that there are messages, there are important things going on, whether it's just my subconscious screaming at things that I need to know. But I've sort of vowed as my own New Year's resolution this year to really start taking a closer look at my dreams. Yeah, I mean, some of I would say about maybe 6 years ago, probably a half a year before the big pandemic reset, whatever you want to call it, is when my dreams really started ramping up. I normally would have nightmares maybe once a week. I would sort of have a night of nightmares, but ever since then, maybe the last 6 years, I've had nightmares every single night, and it's serial nightmares, one after another. It's intense. So, yeah, it begs to be looked at, is what I'm saying. And dreams are my jam. Why am I sharing my dreams with y'all on YouTube? That's a good question. I could journal my dreams all day, keep them locked up in a drawer and never get anywhere with it. Or I can sort of discuss these a little more publicly. Dream symbols are highly personal, so I can't expect someone to gain much understanding from my dreams, but maybe you can understand from my process and integration is how I work these dreams into my waking life, I guess you could say. So one of the dream types, I guess I would say, I've started having more recently in the last 6 months. I've been having what I would call precognition dreams. I'm not trying to say I'm having any great predictions of world events and whatnot. They're just minor little things, but it sort of really makes you question the nature of time and reality and dreams and what comes first and all of this. So yeah, the first example that I will talk about this was last summer. So this is in my dream. I'm in some small town that I've never been into. I'm in a general store. There are shelves full of things that, for whatever reason, I'm throwing in my bag. I have some bread, I have some milk, I have some raw chicken. they're things that, they're perishable things. They're things that I don't want to waste. They're things with some importance. But I didn't come for those things. I just saw them and needed to put them in my bag. But when I got outside of the store, suddenly my bag was full of holes and all these items were falling out of the bag. I'm aware that I have perishable items like raw chicken that are now going to go to waste because I have no way to refrigerate them and take these items to anywhere I can actually use them. So, like, what's this all about? There's people on the sidewalk that are now looking at me and, they're whispering because I'm wasting these valuable food items. In the end, I sort of found some thread and some tape, and I kind of patched the bag together the best as I could and moved on. And that's kind of where I remember the dream end. Now, 2 days later, I went to the beach. It was a holiday. There were going to be fireworks. It was a really nice summer night. And I wanted to go look for what are called lights. They're fluorescent rocks that you can find with a black light. And our beach has amazing rocks. I'm kind of a rock hound, so I could easily fill my pockets. So I was out there on the beach at night. I was finding all these amazing rocks, and I was literally pulling scoops of them into my backpack. And when I was ready to call it, my backpack zipper broke, and the rocks are falling out. And I have a shopping bag that's got holes in it, and the pebbles are falling out. I've got a pile of rocks, and I became very aware of all the people on the beach that are having their campfires and trying to set off fireworks. And they're probably, what is that crazy person doing with the black light? And I started feeling like I was making a scene, and then my inner critic started to get a hold of me, and I was starting to feel some anxiety. But then I had a very sudden flash. If it was a movie moment, I would sort of describe it as a quick flash and an immediate transport back to that dream where I was trying to salvage these grocery items and fix my bag. I flashed back to the beach, and I was able to wire up my zipper and kind of tweak things in the way that my bag held together. And these precious rocks that I hadn't paid for, I didn't necessarily go out of my way for, but they were precious to me. I managed to store up and haul off without, making as little scene as I can. I mean, it's a minor, mundane precognition in the end, but it was just an amazing lesson in that flash of, holy shit, I dreamt this 2 nights ago. So that's the first interest. I mean, I've had this happen before as a kid, but not at times where I can really remember. But now I'm really starting to put the pieces together and remember these things. So the second instance of this I had was a few months ago. I had a dream. In my dream, I chomped down and I broke a molar, and it completely crumbled. And, it was a very anxious moment. I was upset that I had just broken one of my teeth, and this is insane. What's going to happen? That was the end of the dream. I woke up. 2 days later, I was eating a piece of cherry pie, and prior to that, I had been so dang careful about not chewing on a cherry pit. But I was at the last bite. I think I was watching something, and I was completely distracted, and I chomped down on this cherry pit. The cherry pit completely crushed, and then I had that same flash back to my dream where my molar was completely destroyed. Now, in the real life, it wasn't my molar that was destroyed, it was the cherry pit, but it created a lot of anxiety. For a second, I really thought I did break my molar, just like what happened in the dream. But it didn't. Everything was fine, but it was that moment again that, holy shit, I dreamt this 2 days ago. So from these couple of dreams, a couple of things that I've noticed is there's an emotional release. There's a lot of anxiety over the dream event and the tying real event. But in a sense, they're kind of nothing burgers. Like, the situation was resolved, no problem. I made a mountain out of a molehill. But I think there's something about an emotional trigger that can create these precognitive loops. It's really interesting to think about, and I've also noticed how both times it was really interesting that it was 2 days apart. And it's almost like you dream your reality, and then 2 days later it plays out. I can sort of think on that for a while. But there was one other small instance just to really drive it home, and I was watching Survivor a few weeks ago, and there was a moment where one of the contestants was trying to roll over an obstacle, and they were kind of stuck on the top, and they were teetering. They, really struggling to get over. And again, I had that flash back to a dream that I'd had 2 days prior, where I was trying to get out of a garage, and I was kind of stuck teetering right near the door, trying to like roll over a pile of obstacles, almost like a gymnastics, like a pommel horse or something. And I was stuck on the top, and just that last, trying to get my leg out before the door comes down. And it was exactly the same as what was happening in this Survivor challenge. And, completely mundane, but again, another lesson or example of this sort of weird minor precognition that I've been experiencing. Now, why am I talking about this all today? It's kind of a trip. I've been feeling this push to talk more about my dreams or try to do something with my dreams. But my latest, what I would call precog dream, this week I've had a few dreams about fires. And if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you know that there's a fire situation happening in LA, and it's serious and significant. Certainly, my heart goes out to everyone affected and involved. It's an insane tragedy. The forest, the people, the homes, the pets. I just read that the Theosophical Society burned down, and they lost all their libraries and artifacts. It's wow. So I certainly am not trying to take advantage of this situation, but I couldn't not take notice of the fact that I've been having these fire dreams. Not sure where they come from, what they mean, but when I started looking at the news a couple days ago, a lot more made sense. So my first fire dream was the night before the LA fire happened. I was somewhere, I believe it was like a fireplace, and there was a fire going, but the fire had sparked and then gotten out so that it had started in the wood pile adjacent to the fireplace. And in my dream, I was kind of like, this isn't my fire. This is a problem. Somebody should do something about this. I can't do anything about it. I have to go. And I remember being concerned about the fire, but then that was the end of the dream. 2 days later, I had another fire dream where there was a massive wood pile outside, like almost like lumber, almost like a wooden sculpture or something, not like a Burning Man, just sort of a big stack of giant wood timbers and such. And it had started fire, and now it was meant to be burnt, like almost like a giant bonfire situation. But nobody had started it, or at least whoever had started it was no longer around to attend it. And I remember thinking, this thing's going to burn for like days. Like, I can't be here to watch the fire and take care of it. And then again, I kind of wandered off, feeling bad that I wasn't doing anything about it, but there was nothing I could do about it. It was just going to do. I didn't understand how these dreams could relate to my waking life and things that were going on. I've never had fire dreams before, but the second dream happened the day that the LA fire really became big news. And then I started looking at the stories, and then started having flashes back to these two fire dreams that I had just had. Now, I'm not trying to say I predicted it, but I think it's weird that I had fire dreams before I really knew. Certainly, the first dream was before the fire happened, and then the second dream was as the story was just breaking, and it wasn't something that I had dug into yet. So that's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know how I can use this in any practical way, or if this will ever even happen again. When something like this, when a precognition happens in my dreams, it tends to be so minor and insignificant. Like, I wake up thinking about it, but not really knowing what to do with it. I mean, it's not like I could do anything about, whatever. I digress. So it's an interesting phenomenon. I don't know, has anyone else that's watching this had precognition dreams? I'd love to hear more about your experiences. It's super fascinating. it would also be interesting to note, just a quick side thought, there's the Princeton Global Consciousness Project where they have a bunch of machines that are running random number generators. And these things tend to pop off when there's large events happening, like they popped off when 9/11 happened, other big events that are sort of captured by the global mind. I'd be curious what the Princeton EEGs were doing while the LA fire or before the LA fires happened, and also in conjunction with when I had my dream. It would be interesting to see if I'm somehow dreaming some sort of correlation to a blip that's happening in the Global Consciousness Project. I don't know, and that's a topic for another day, but it's highly interesting to think about. Okay, well, thanks for listening. I'm going to try to do more of these, but it was difficult slowing my heart rate enough and beating down my inner critic to actually do the first one of these, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully this will not be the one and only episode of Decoding My Dreams. And thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you found it interesting, and have a wonderful day.